Hey, welcome back, guys. Good morning. This is Sean with Blue Ridge Silverhound. And of course, today we're going to deep dive into probably the number one resource that a lot of new and existing collectors use to determine value of their coins, and that's eBay. Okay, it's the easiest, most accessible. It's not what I would consider to be an active price guide. It is active, but people pay various amounts of money for various coins. Sometimes the same coin can have a huge price deviation from one that sold a week ago compared to one that sells, say today. So the biggest topic that I've got a lot of buzz, a lot of question marks about. Okay, it's two things. It's two parts. Probably one of them we're not going to address today. That's going to be a topic for a separate video. But someone had mentioned, okay, tell me a little bit about some of those pricey error coins that are currently on eBay. Are they legitimate? What are we talking about here? Okay, gladly. Okay, that's going to be the topic of this video. The other one, which, by the way, is a fantastic topic in itself, is the high shipping prices. Why do people charge $15, $20 shipping for an item that costs $1? Okay, and some of you probably are aware of that kind of practice going on eBay, and it's something that you really can't do anymore because eBay has nipped the bud, so to speak, on that particular practice. Okay, it's not like it used to be back 5 years ago when you can do stuff like that and get away with it. So if you look on the screen here, okay, we're going to look at about the top 10 or 12 error coins. Of course, we're going to focus strictly on U.S. coins. There are a few coins that are absolutely phenomenal, being sold by established error professionals like Mike Byers, Sullivan Numismatics. We're going to take a look at everything, okay? And ultimately, are we dealing with fact or fiction here? Okay, do we have a lot of dreamers, or do we have people who are genuinely knowing in this particular sector of numismatics that they are asking the right type of money for the coins? And we're going to try and piece together through it all. Would love to hear your guys' comments, what you think about this. Pretty amazing stuff. So the first coin right on screen is going to be a 1958D San Francisco Wheat Ear Lincoln Cent Weak Strike S Mint Mark variety. That's a mouthful. That can be confusing to a lot of people. PCGS Grader number 1 states, yes, it is an S mint mark on a Denver minted coin. Okay. If you're asking $50,000, wouldn't you want better photos than this? Okay, you can see that it was taken on someone's Samsung smartphone device. Okay, this is unprofessional for a 5-figure price tag. If you wanted that kind of money, dude, you should have seriously upped the ante a little bit on your images. All right, so we have a few pictures. It looks like the guy took 3 of the same photos, which does not really provide any insight on what this S mint mark variety is. There it is. Okay. A nice long distance shot as if we're taking photos of birds out in the marsh. A 1958D PCGS AU58. He actually went on record to state that he did do the Secure Plus, which is what that gold shield is on there. Yeah. To me, this coin's not even worth $5 as is. And I'm going to tell you why. All right. If you had a legitimate new discovery with an S mint mark on a Denver minted coin, okay, first of all, wouldn't it be on the slab? On the label? Yeah, it should. Number 2, if this is indeed a new discovery, why haven't you sent it to Wexler yet? Get it attributed, turn it into a cherry picker's guide variety, then maybe this coin will be worth something someday. Right now, the way it sits, this is a sinkhole of despair. Okay, if I wouldn't pay anything north of, honestly, I wouldn't pay anything worth over $1 or $2 for this coin. Okay, that's a 5-cent Lincoln Cent that I see right here. That's someone that spent $30 to encapsulate And this is a trap. This is a serious trap. I appreciate his donation charity for Wounded Warrior Project, but Bud, you have to go through the process on this. Okay, new discoveries, they go right to the source. You gotta get them attributed first. If they're not on the freaking label, do not sell them. So guys, 50 grand, yeah, it's worth about $5 at this point. And you're being nice at that point because you're kind of giving back a little bit of money for the grading fees. So we have a Queen Victoria British coin here, and let's see, a Canada. So we're going to skip on to the next one. 1970s, proof 25 cent, struck on a silver Barber Quarter. Aha, pretty cool. I like the sound of this. One of two known. It sounds like a U.S. Mint experimentation project, okay? Because obviously they're not going to have a silver Barber Quarter that is 65 years old in with a batch of blank clad planchets. I'll just, I'll be honest. I believe this is a Mike Byers specimen, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at it, and it sure is. Okay, he's one of the big experts in this. So a Barber Quarter. So automatically this thing's going to be a 90% silver piece. So there's really not a whole lot you can see with the slabbed image, but if you get in close right here, you can plainly see some of those details and devices of the Barber Quarter. You can see the arrows that's being clutched by the eagle on the reverse. Pretty neat coin here. Again, this is someone's attempt to do kind of like a, backdoor shenanigans type affair at the mint. And yeah, I would say that this is, while this is an error, it's not the type of error that, would be like really a mix-up or boo-boo in this case. But this one right here was an intentional error. $75,000. If you wanted something truly unique, this is the piece for you. Personally, if I spend that kind of money, I wouldn't feel good about it because it's like, yeah, you know what? It's pretty unique, seeing as how it's only, well, one of two known. But being that this was created under a false pretense, kind of leaves a little salty taste in my mouth. Okay, I'm a purist in the coin community. So to find coins like this, while, the 20-year-old self probably thinks, man, that is pretty awesome. Now that I'm a lot more educated in this field, this is a coin that I feel like, has a little chip on its shoulder. So, I mean, 75 grand, I highly believe is a fair market value for this coin. However, keep in mind, this is a, inside shenanigans deal right here. So, I guess to each their own. But Mike Byers, man, he has some of the nicest coins. So here's a 1922 S piece dollar, struck 15% off center. This is probably my favorite coin on the list because I'm partial to piece dollars, and you just don't see a lot of off center strikes, okay, in the bigger dollars. Of course, it's another Mike Byers inclusion, $75,000. This one is worth every penny, I believe. Okay, it's even got a little bit of toning on there. Very nice, very nice. Mid-State 65. Very rarely do you see these without some sort of damage. Traditionally, you get some damage on these off-center coins. The bigger the coin, the more likely it is to see some sort of damage. So to see one that's been undisturbed, okay, is phenomenal. Okay, it's a, again, another Mike Byers specimen, 22S off-center. All right, so we have, let's see, 1852 Judd. So we'll try and stay away from the patterns. Here is a unique graded annex AU58 state quarter coin error. The date on this Connecticut coin has been forgotten. No, it hasn't. Instead of the regular date of 1999, there stands a lonely 9. I wonder why. The 1990 portion has been forgotten by the die press due to grease. Okay, he did get that right. Okay, the forgotten is kind of a strong word for it. Nobody forgets to put a date on a die. This is an error based off of a strike through grease. First of all, these coins are common as dirt. Okay, I come across coins like this all the time. Okay, you do enough coin roll hunting, you're going to find a lot of strike throughs, especially the struck through grease error type. And I typically sell these between $5 and $20 a piece, depending on denominations. Lincoln cents are much more easily available in today's market with a strike through of this nature. But as you can see, it is indeed missing the 199. Okay, and then on the slab, okay, it says struck through grease, EU58. While a neat anomaly, again, at $78,000 with a $101,000 bin on this is absolutely ludicrous. Okay, and whoever buys this probably deserves to be slapped anyways, because it's just way too much money for a coin that effectively is worth about, you know what? I'm going to give this guy a benefit of the doubt and say that this coin is worth about $50. Strike through grease errors, while common, there are a few coins that, you know, if it's missing like letters and numbers and all that sort of thing, that really gives it kind of a unique look to it. It's worth at least that, $50. Aside from that, yeah, this is a Dreamer's listing right here. So we're going to continue on. I mean, it's bound to happen, guys. You know, you're gonna come across coins that are way too insane. Obviously, there are no watchers on this, as opposed to this one right here has 227 watchers. It's an NGC graded. See it to believe it. Okay. 1943 steel cent capped die obverse, AU details. Smooth surface on obverse, reverse has full wheat ears. Now, this is pretty neat. Joe the Coin Guy is selling this coin for $91,000. It's got environmental damage as noted on the NGC slab label right there. There's a close-up of the coin. So definitely capped die. You could see remnants of 1 cent on there. All right, so there was a coin that was struck that stuck to the die. So every other subsequent coin that was struck after that was a capped die strike. All right, this is pretty cool. Honestly, I think $91,000 is way too high for something like this, even though it is on a steel cent. Okay, there are a lot of errors that exist on steel cents. So, you know, cap die, I'm sure, is pretty rare. I think this is overpriced by quite a margin. You know, this is a coin that's probably in the $4,000 to $5,000 range as a conservative estimate. You know, you could certainly garner a little bit more money than that. But all in all, I think $91,000, you know, he probably has very little intentions of selling it, unless, you know, and he's probably bringing in some offers as they go. And you know what? I've seen this before. They'll ask an absorbent amount of money like this, and you know, it's like, you know, I'm not in a hurry to sell it, but let's say if I sold it for 10 grand, I will definitely take it. All right, people overshoot their buy it now listings by a huge amount of money, and then they'll take maybe 10 or 15% of the actual cost. He's not in a hurry to sell it by any means, but that looks like a very cool coin. So we're going to pass to Canada. This one is neat here. I'm not going to get into the actual listing. It's $100,000. Unique Mexico 1916 Oaxaca, gold 60 pesos. Struck on a US $10 Liberty NGC AU53. Okay, that's pretty cool. So it's struck on a on what would be a planchet deserving of a some sort of eagle. Okay, 1916. It was probably a Liberty $10, which will have the Native American headdress Liberty on the obverse and the eagle on the reverse. Pretty neat coin, $100,000. I'm sure it's worth every penny. I'm not gonna lie, that's a nice one. Again, it's not for everyone, but for the most discerning of error collectors, they'll want that in their collection. Unique 1943 Lincoln cent 5-piece set with, it's 5 pieces. Experimental antimony, test piece, NGC. The 1943 Judd 2085 Lincoln Cent is part of a 5-piece NGC certified set and was authenticated and certified AU58 December 1942. One of these is a 1943 copper blank and 3 are 1943 steel blanks. It is similar to Judd 2085, although no Judd designation is on blah, blah, blah. Okay, so what this is, the Judd part of it is typically referred to as a catalog number for not only experimental coins, but also pattern pieces. So trial strike type stuff. So this was at a time when they were test striking various types of grades of that zinc-coated steel cent planchet, I'm sure. Pretty neat 25 watchers on this one. It's probably worth somewhere around there, because if it's a 5-piece set and you got a couple, copper strikes and a couple of the steel cent antimony trial strikes, that's a pretty nice compilation right there. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the next one. It's a 1970D Annex MS63 plastic struck, unique mint error, PQ Washington quarter, 25 cents. Who taught these people how to write listings? It's crazy. This dramatic looking quarter has a 70% plastic strike through on the obverse. Okay, so it's probably some sort of plastic disc coming off of the machine or something of that type. He needs to take some lessons in writing out a listing title from Mike Byers and Sullivan. Certified City Net. Never heard of him. $100,000 and 1 penny. He had to throw in that 1 penny as if it was some sort of comic relief. But 1970 struck through plastic. Oh, it's interesting. I've seen coins struck through sanding disc and nails and all that other stuff that is sold for a lot less money. So this one is a little bit less special to me. I don't buy high-end stuff like this. There could be a buyer for something like this. Honestly, I couldn't say that it's worth $5,000 or $50,000 or $100,000. It might be the only one ever in existence. The only question is, how do they know that it was struck through plastic? That's the only thing. If there's no retained piece of plastic on there, is there some sort of other remnant of this plastic that was used? So, oh yeah, $100,000 conversation piece. Jeez, wouldn't you rather just take the cash equivalent and buy a house or invest it? Yes, I believe it is the only struck through plastic error of any denomination. Now, it doesn't specify if there is some sort of trace material on the coin that gives it the indication that it is a struck through plastic. I don't know where they came across this. But if you were to send this to, say, PCGS, would they determine it the same way too? Or would they say, oh, it's struck through, it's just not through plastic? Maybe it's, through another coin or, something else foreign in matter that we've seen before, not plastic. So we're going to move on to the next one. This one's pretty cool. It's a 1981 cent on nickel. So struck on a nickel planchet. Unique and supposedly impossible. Well, nothing is impossible when you have the power of U.S. Mint employee shenanigans. And when they sit there and trial out some various, oh yeah, let's strike it on a nail. Yeah, how's that work again? Unique, yes. Truly one of a kind, cent on nickel planchet, labeled by PCGS as a die cap. Long thought to be impossible because a 5-cent planchet cannot fit into the die collar. That is true. Used in minting 1-cent coins. This loan example. Okay, this is a backyard shenanigan type coin in the mint. I'm not gonna lie. They could put they could sit there and install cent dies into a machine with a collar that's made to fit a nickel planchet. It's not impossible. $129,000. Again, this is from an unknown seller. Dr. B. Berger. You see here. The name sounds familiar, but Okay. All right. So it's pretty interesting. I've seen a number of, off planchet strikes. Okay. This is yet another one that exists out in the marketplace. $129,000 is way too ambitious for a coin like this. I'm thinking probably 10% of that is on par with what a valuation would be. But I don't set the market, folks. I give my honest, unbiased review on these error coins. It's pretty crazy. Let's see, 1916 Buffalo Nickel, doubled die obverse, PCGS graded, mid-state 61, verified by CAC. Okay, this one needs no introduction. That is a phenomenal coin, worth every penny. As a matter of fact, it might be overpriced by a shade. Sounds like a $100,000 coin to me, folks. Now, this one's really cool. This is another Mike Beyer specimen. Unique 1904, $20 double struck, rotated 180 degrees in color, NGC mid-state 62 CAC. So when we go in this one, you're going to see better with this. Okay, so it doesn't look like much, but if you get in closer, do you see the image of the upside down Liberty nose and mouth and part of the forehead right there? And then you get some of the little bit of a double strike on Liberty's profile right there. See that little wiggly line? Pretty nuts. And then you have other pieces of the double strike that you could see. Nothing really here, but yeah, that right there where you could see the front of her face. It's not an error that kind of like sticks out at you. You really have to examine it. It's a cool coin to just sit there and look at all day. You know, it has a lot to offer. On the reverse, you don't see a whole lot of remnants. You see a few of those lines of the other design that's been flipped over in there, right there to the right of the shield. You know, it's the only spot that I could see. There's a few other light areas, but $150,000. When are you going to see another specimen quite like this? Probably never. It's pretty interesting. That's a one-off. 1884 PCGS XF45 foreign planchet, unique, epic error. Way to use today's vernacular, folks. PQ plus Liberty Nickel. All right. 1884. So apparently it's even more rare than the 1913 Liberty Nickel, which is crazy because there's only 5 examples of that. Certified City Net. All right. Foreign planchet strikes are not impossible. However, I will say that this price is way impossible. Again, another highly inflated listing. Okay, so the coin looks a little bit smaller. Okay, the foreign planchet is just a hair smaller than this nickel planchet, and that's why you see what you see here. It's an neat piece, don't get me wrong. It's probably worth about 10% of that value, but, you know, who knows? Maybe they really do want $200,000 to $250,000 for this thing. It's way too ambitious. This coin has been on eBay for the longest time. This thing has been sitting, and it's got no watchers, which says a lot. So we are going to finish on the one most epic coin, okay? And I actually use it as my thumbnail because it's like it doesn't say clickbait more so than it does $300,000 Jefferson Nickel. That's like, what in the world? A $300,000 nickel? Are you kidding me? Well, it's a 1970s PCGS Proof 63. So this came out of a proof set, test piece. Take the word test piece out because that's not what it is. Only proof known, unique. Okay, I'll give you that. But you know what this is, okay? CertifiedCity.net, the home of the overpriced errors. And it's a die adjustment strike, okay? The U.S. Mint, when they're testing out the pressures of the dies, okay, they'll dial down the actual pressurization, so that way you get weaker-looking devices. You know, it's not a complete 100% strike based off of the right type of pressure, okay? You know, they'll dial back, and then they'll just kind of sit there and adjust it as they go. So they've made a number of pieces for every single date of coin. So every time they put in new fresh dies, they do die adjustment strikes to get the pressure just right. So yes, while it's unique and someone actually put it in a proof set back in 1970, $300,000, way too much, man. I'd like to see maybe 10% of that value. Die adjustment strikes are a neat collectible. They're very valuable. On a proof, it's kind of a one-off, but die adjustment strikes on regular coins, business strike coins, typically command between $100 and $1,000, depending on denominations. There are some denominations that are more rare than others. But even for a one-off unique proof coin, it's not impossible because the U.S. Mint has trialed a number of different coins for a set of dies. This one right here is way ambitiously priced, but you had to hear it from here, folks. $300,000. Again, it's another. We're going to throw the price way high and see if we can get maybe half that. And it's not even worth half that. It's not. I'm not trying to set the market value for something like this. I'm going by experience. Okay. How many die adjustment strikes are available out there? Period. Okay. Not just for proof, but all coins. Well, there's a number of them. All right. And you guys see the value in these. What's worth $300,000? How about an Ike dollar struck on 90% planchet? Yeah. Yeah, let's say if they had some of those leftover Morgan dollar, or Peace dollar 90% planchets, and they struck one of those Ike dollars on there, that would be $300,000 worthy. Pretty neat. Well, what do you guys think? We'd love to hear your guys' input, your feedback on this one. Those are the top 10, 12, 13, 14, error coins that people are asking huge money for. Some of them, actually are within market. Some of them are ambitiously priced, but I do hope that a sale, happens and everybody meets halfway on some of these coins. Some of the coins have been on eBay for a long time, 2, 3, 4 years. Okay. And it's like you have no bites. So what does that say? Or you really don't care about selling it, but when the right price comes along, bingo, bango, there we go. So I want to thank everyone for joining in. As of course, the best way you can support my channel is to hit the like button, share, subscribe. Would love to hear your feedback again. So go ahead and comment below. Check me out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So until next time, you guys take care and don't overpay for coins. Yes, you heard that right. And I'll see you later.